Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it's time for us to take a look at the most recent patch that Riot has put out for League of Legends. This is going to be patch 3.5. What happened to 3.0? What are they doing 3.0 somethings? Anyways, this is 3.5. Whether or not that means anything different, that's what's going on. So this patch is released, should be out by now, and we got a bunch of stuff happening in this, so we're going to go ahead and jump right on into some of the changes and discuss those, and I'll give you my opinion on anything that looks super important and whether or not it should affect anyone horrifically, or whether or not it's just a tweak and you shouldn't worry about it, because I think some people kind of get bent out of shape when certain things happen in the patch notes, and so we need to talk about it, because you guys are taking it a little bit too much to your heart, and we're going to be fine. So, first off, we got Karma. She has received model update and rework and relaunch and refund and all types of fun stuff. So, I'm not going to actually go over all of her stuff right here, because typically I would usually do that in a build video. Hopefully I'll be able to start playing her more. I've actually waited to do a Karma build. I had one ready, actually, at one point, and then the rework was almost done, and I was like, you know what, I'll wait, because I'm not going to release it, and it'll be instantly out of date, and y'all complain. So, I wait, and so hopefully I'll start playing her again soon, and we can work with that, and we'll talk about all of that, hopefully coming up in the next few weeks. So, Karma has a rework. Enjoy that while it is here for now. Next, we are looking at Akali. We have her Twilight Shroud. Akali is now immediately stealthed and unstealth when she is now leaving it. Immediately stealth when she casts it directly on herself, and is now revealed immediately, or when she casts a spell upon, rather than just dealing the damage. So, and the delay on the re-stealthing has increased on it. So, basically, she won't be able to be quite as tricky with her stealth, but that was kind of a weird problem with her stealth. Though, it's still going to work well, and it's actually going to help her in a couple other areas a little bit better. But just some tweaks to it, nothing really big to worry about, I'd say. Just something to get used to now. Next, we do have Anivia. We have a Crystallize. There's been a bug fix on that, where it could stop uninterruptible movements, such as Malphite's Unstoppable Force. So that's going to be fixed now. Next, we have Ashe with Focus. It now displays the Crystal Strike chance bonus on the buff bar, so you'll be able to see that a little bit easier while you are playing Ashe. Then we have Draven, his spinning axes. They now lead Draven more accurately when he is benefiting from movement speed increases, instead of it just kind of getting a little bit out of your way, so it'll help him catch us a little bit easier. And now they actually have changed the axe drop location. It will no longer be placed in awkward areas, like sometimes you throw one and it like halfway be off the map. You could still catch it, but it'd just be awkward to see it that way, so they're going to fix that as well. Next, they're going to have some changes on Hecarim's Spirit of the Dead. The cooldown is actually going to be increased on that by a little bit. It was on a slightly slow or low cooldown for how good that actually is for a move, so a little bit of a cooldown increase on him, so just something to maybe remember now if you're going to be playing that champion. Next, we do have Master Yi, his Double Strike. The Double Strike swing time now scales with Master Yi's attack speed, instead of it being fixed at 0.6 seconds, so that's a little change. And then they fixed a bug where the second strike on Double Strike could critically hit turrets. I'd obviously needed to not do that, because you can't really critically hit turrets, so that's kind of nice that they're going to fix that. Next, we do have Riven, her Wind Slash. They fixed a bug where Riven could cast Wind Slash a second time after using Hourglass, so kind of weird. I don't know why you'd have an Hourglass on Riven anyways, but nonetheless, they tweaked that and fixed that a little bit. Next, some changes to Rumble happening. Electro Harpoon, a little bit of a bug fixed, where the visual effect would disappear before the actual end of the projectile. So good to fix that, so you can actually see that happening if it's going to happen, instead of it disappearing and hitting you. I know they've had this problem actually with Sivir. I don't know if they fixed it yet, though, where she could throw out her boomerang, and you basically wouldn't see it do the damage to you, but it would definitely hurt. So hopefully they'll get to that sometime on her. Maybe they don't know about it. And then for Rumble, the Equalizer no longer deals initial impact damage, but the area burn damage now starts immediately instead of with a 0.5 second delay. So you're just going to have to position these a little bit better if you want those to work in your benefit. There's some good little guides and little pictures I've seen where people explain how to use Rumble's ultimate effectively to kind of force people to run into it. So you can kind of think about that too on your own if you play Rumble. But it's kind of it's a nice tool to force people to go a certain direction, because crossing over it really hurts. The burn damage per second actually is going to be increased on that, though, so that's something to maybe pay attention to. It's just going to really hurt if they're forced to go through it now instead of some initial damage, so something to pay attention to. Next, there's a little tweak to Trundle happening, a Pillar of Filth. They fixed a bug where Pillar of Filth could stop uninterrupted movement abilities such as Malphite's Unstoppable Force, so a little bit of a tweak to that as well. Another thing just for me to mention here, I posted, actually, on the forums, a skin idea for Trundle, just because I was bored. I posted it on my Facebook page. I'll actually leave a link of it in the description of this build, or of this video, and you guys can go check it out and see if you like it. Thumbs up it, maybe comment about it, because I think Riot pays attention to that stuff if it gets lots of hits. So you can go see what I was talking about with my Trundle idea. It's kind of a pimp/gangster Trundle, so go read about that. Like I said, there's a link in the description of this video, so if you're bored and want to read about that, go check it out. Alright, next, we have a handful of stuff happening to Udyr in this game. Mana costs and all stances are actually going to be decreased a little bit, which is kind of a good thing. He's kind of struggled with this early in games. He can eat his mana switching between his forms, because you benefit from switching between his forms, so you would do it, and then you run out of mana immediately. So there's going to be a little bit of a change to that. Monkey's Agility now grants 5 movement speed per stack, instead of 4% bonus armor magic resist. Basically, he'll move quicker, but he'll have less tankiness, but he's pretty tanky anyways. Turtle Stance no longer returns mana when dealing damage. The shield, though, is going to be increased on that just slightly, and now you can actually critically strike in Turtle Stance, which is kind of nice. Before, you could not at all. Then Bear Stance, Udyr now ignores unit collision while this is up and active, which is kind of awesome. That will help benefit that, because this is his stun ability. When you now perform slight dashes towards targets, stunning attacks while movement speed is activated, Bear Stance attacks can no longer be self-interrupted mid-attack. Movement speed increases are going to be happening on that, which is nice, and movement duration is actually going to also be reduced, but the increase on the speed and the ability to ignore unit collision on Bear Stance is going to be awesome for him. His ganks are basically just going to be a little bit quicker, faster, and get him done quick, so that'll be pretty awesome. And then for his Phoenix Stance, the first attack after activating Phoenix Stance will now immediately proc the Fire Cone in addition to every third attack. No longer grants bonus ability power and attack damage when activated. Bonus or the ability power ratio on that Fire Cone is going to be increased slightly, and the updated Fire Cone spell effect. So that should be actually pretty cool. It was a little bit hard to see at first, but a little bit of a tweak there. Should be pretty awesome. Good changes to him. Good and bad. It's going to keep him pretty even. It's not really a nerf or a buff, just some tweaks. Then we have Warwick, the Hunter's Call, now displays range indicator when you mouse over it, and then Blood Scent now displays a range indicator on the minimap as well. And then we do have Zed, Living Shadow, a fixed a bug where Living Shadow would sometimes cast in a random direction, so kind of good to fix that. That's just the champion changes. Now we have a couple item changes. Gnasher's Tooth combined cost is actually going to be increased a little bit. Spirit of the Elder Lizard unique passive damage reduced to 6 to 4 from 6 to 40 over 3 seconds, from 14 to 50. And then Malmortius, there is a fixed a bug where the lifeline shield was lasting for 3 seconds instead of 5. So a little bit of a tweak on that should help that item out quite a bit. So changes to leagues. Fixed a issue where there would appear to be players who lost LP on a win, which kind of sucks. That would completely suck, actually, if that happened. Changed LP gain and loss calculations in Bronze 5, so players should experience more predictable LP gains and losses rather than seeing big swings up and down if they lost or won. And they've slightly accelerated LP gains for teams that perform well consistently. Oh, that'd be great. My 3v3 team freaking wins like all our games. We finally lost one. That would have been great before that. We'd already be better than where we're placed, because the placement, in my opinion, is currently broken. But nonetheless, I'll bitch about that later. Alright, so there's some other changes that have happened. They've been tweaking turrets on and off in this game. Lately, it seems like a lot of people have getting tower dove really early, and it's been kind of unfortunate. So there's going to be some changes to towers. So this is kind of a beware. There's going to be a lot more damage on those. So towers now deal 105% damage to champions on the first attack, which has been increased from 94.5. So it's going to be an increase from the first hit. And now towers now deal 25% additional damage for consecutive strikes on the same champion, max going up to 225%. And this is also an increase as well. So it's going to hurt sooner, and it's going to hurt more, and it's going to hurt faster, and it's going to hurt longer. So just be prepared for that. It's going to make some of those junglers that have too much escapability and dashability, thinking a little bit about Lee Sin here, it's going to make it a little bit tougher for them to do those crazy tower dives at level 2 and 3 without them taking a considerable amount of damage. So something to just be aware of, so you don't tower dive and get murdered immediately, and you're like, whoa, what just happened? That was just absolutely ridiculous. So pay attention to that. Apart from these turret changes, they are changing things with the siege minions and the super minions. Basically, they're going to take more damage from the turrets, and they are going to do less damage to the turrets. So, I think that's, if I read that correctly. So, nonetheless, just pay attention to some of these tweaks and see how this is going to play out, because it's going to be slightly different for a little bit. So, just pay attention to that. There's all types of other little fixes going on in this game. Teleport on the incoming visual effect was kind of screwed up. I know that has been happening. I've seen it happening. SmartCast change-up abilities should now be more responsive. And there's also going to be a champion select AFK detection. So if nobody picks a champion, instead of it rando assigning them one before the timer goes up, basically it'll just terminate the game, get rid of it, and should send everybody back out into the lobby. And that should be a good way to prevent anybody who maybe disconnects while they are in the champion select. So that's a good thing at least. So I've seen that happen before where somebody gets disconnected because their internet freaks out and then they get a random champion in the jungle like Lulu or Janna, and you're like, well, we don't want to jungle Janna. That's unfortunate for us. So hopefully this will fix that and you all get sent back. And that's what's going on with that. Other than that, there's some few other little changes in there. You can read about the champions and the pick lobbies, draft modes handled slightly different, and all types of little things like that. But that's pretty much going to be the patch notes. Nothing crazy in this patch, just a bunch of tweaks, bug fixes, a couple changes to the turrets that I think are very notable. So pay attention to those so you don't get caught out on the wrong side of that. But other than that, guys, it's pretty much going to cover it. If you have a positive or negative response to the changes that Riot has just made, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. We can discuss those more in depth if you are going super mad about towers because you love to tower dive at level 1. But other than that, guys, I guess I'll just see all of you in the next video.